This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klaus. Let's get started.
When you see God's rust surrounded by armies,
I'm sorry I couldn't buy us more time.
then know that its desolation has come near.
I mean, I have great faith in the gods. I think that no matter what happens, they're going to triumph over this.
Then let those who are upon the pinnacle flee to the mountains.
And it's not really our place to judge, but to serve.
And let those who are inside the city depart.
I think if you gave me a few days, I could learn enough deep speech to try.
And let not those who are out in the forest enter it.
I'm an archaeologist. Disrespecting the dead is kind of what I do.
For these are the days of vengeance,
I just want to know what the fuck I am.
to fulfill all that is written.
Do not heed the visions of false prophets. Do not become what they want you to become.
Alright, Scales. It's up to you now. You've got this.
With that, are you guys ready to jump in? Okay, recording is going. Alright, this one is one of the... It's not super long, but it's not short. A man of dark hair, matted with sweat, face splattered with blood, sits, red-scaled armor creaking as he hefts a long greatsword upon the table. The vision watches his reaction as a voice across him speaks. You've taken so much. We bleed. We kneel at your feet, and yet it still isn't enough. The heavens have opened, and yet you still grasp for land like a greedy child. The vision rotates upon the speaker, a woman with silver dark hair, brown eyes, and half-elven features as she grits her teeth towards the man as he speaks. And still you withhold marriage? Have defeated your generals, yet spared this city. And your sons? What more could you desire? The vision rotates back to the man, whose gauntlets rest upon the table, as he finishes wiping his face free of blood. I would have you listen, for you do not understand. The heavens bleed, but this wound is not new. It is a scar healed and torn open over and over again. The sages have spoken of such times of destruction. And if the heavens break, the gods will come, riding from the sky to face one another, and upheaval will follow their clash. For many others beyond the Vaesera await this opportunity. The skies will rain black, the hounds of hell will haunt the forest, the Nor will open from their strife, and civilizations reduced to rubble and ash. Can you not see the futility in your conquest? Can you... Enough! The man's bare hands slam, shaking the table as we watch him speak. You forget too easily of what my people have faced. It was us who faced your elven gods. We proved they could bleed. It was us who faced the dragon incursion. Their hearts are sundered, and we wear their flesh as trophies. Do you think Queen Isabella does not watch the heavens? Wardrath, our god, has called her. We will take the holy city, and once again it will be us who keeps these dark things at bay. The man leans in close. This conquest is everything. So, will you take my hand? The vision zooms in upon the man's face, tight with anger. So be it. As a fresh splatter of blood dots his face once more. Remembrance of Duchess Alphine Tyver. Previously, after the Scales escaped with halos from the fire plane, they arrived back home in Imbershore. Vesper introduced her mother to Varys before bringing her home to Lysander, where they all caught up on life. Amsen spent time with his parents, sharing stories and music, while Ellery did the same, with a celebrating Mogther and her sister. Felix spoke with Melly about creating a protective enchantment to deal with the potential Harbinger control, and awoke everyone bright and early to prepare to leave once more. Meeting in Ball's camp outside of town, the bronze scales began to chant the name of the Sphinx, not sure exactly how to call him, but eventually the cold winds and dust of Feldnor presented itself, walking from it Dietos. Following him through, the scales came into the Forsaken Lands, learning that Tasha was to be found in the Palace of Suffering, the seat of power for the Yevon Mother, the Dread Cryptic, the Raven Queen, Black Star. The realm was hidden, but Dietos showed them the way, through the ancient aspects held him from giving more. We come back to the story here. After you all quietly tried to avoid spirits and undead, you were stalked by Celestial Abendex, an abandoned champion of the dead goddess Mervella. You were able to defeat the cursed creature, but the conflict drew the attention of many spirits and undead, which had to run and hide from, eventually pushing through the forest to find the edge of a great and shadowed valley. In the center of this valley is a peak, upon which are the ruins dark of a castle. A bridge connects the peak to the edge of the valley, running over a sea of spirits far below. Dark winds rush across the bridge, pushing away unwanted spirits as a tall figure watches those who attempt to cross. From the center of this ruined castle is a great streak of dark energy, which pulses high into a great black star hanging in the shadowed sky. You all can feel the reverberation of death ethos here, of a power beyond you've ever felt. This is the realm of a god, the seat of their power. You stand at its precipice. What do you do?
Just to make sure I have the scene, we have to cross a bridge of death? Got it.
Maybe we should get into the orb. Just send one person.
That might be a good idea. We'll at least be quieter that way.
Hear the beating of heavy wings. Though the trees obscure part of your vision, everyone give me a perception check.
Oh boy.
Natural 20 for a 24.
I rolled good.
8.
18.
13.
So Vesper and Amsen, as you hear this, you look around. It's dark, but you can see a dark silhouette moving through the air, peeking through the trees. Your eyes have to adjust to the size of this creature, whose wings maybe span 200 feet. This massive raven that flies with a silvered eye, like a spotlight scanning the edge of the valley. It's on the other side now, but it's curving around to follow the rim of this valley in your direction. Anyone who has religion, go ahead and give me a religion check.
And I roll, since I have Jack of all trades. That's not great. 12.
Oh gosh, that is a 29.
19.
All right. So, as you see this, a few of you, this sparks memories of something you studied. Paul, you remember maybe in teachings when you were at the orphanage about a great raven that served as a champion of the Raven Queen, a massive creature, ever watchful and protective of her. Felix, you also get that there were 2 guardians of the Raven Queen. One is a great raven and the other a watcher, one who can't be lied to, one who can see through any sort of manipulations. And Vesper, since you rolled a 29, you get the names of these. I'll say Felix, you also get something like, it's Ilsa something. But Vesper, you remember the names of these creatures. One is Isilvax, the massive blue-black raven that you see before you. In its wake, there are dark winds that come from its wings, its silver eyes watchful, while the great guardians of the Raven Queen. The other, who you presume to be the tall figure standing on the bridge, is Isilthus. They're twins. The tall skeletal creature, hooded and ruined, eyes glowing blue-black, watches and judges all souls who pass, and guards the gate so that spirits only worthy can cross the bridge.
I'll start pushing you. Can we start getting back into the tree line?
You back into the tree line a bit. You can still hear the spirits haunting and howling, searching for you behind you.
We should get in the orb now. Maybe Amsen and I can go invisible and ride the staff down into the valley. I'm not sure how well it's going to hide from these things, but it's better than nothing.
If Isilthus is watching, he'll see through that, and do we really want to risk trying to sneak in if he only allows the worthy?
Well,
probably not.
I happen to have a magical jacket that I could change to a similar color of like how dark everything is here. And so maybe just by being the same color as everything, it'll be harder to see us. I don't know.
You see the spotlight from the eye is starting now on your side of the valley.
Maybe we should get into the orb.
Wait, before we do that, why doesn't one person try and pass? If you get to the other side, we hop in the orb and pop back out. But if you start crossing the bridge and something bad happens, the rest of us are still here and can see.
It's actually a really good idea.
Well, maybe we want to get into the orb just to travel down as well, so we're not as big as a group making so much noise. Vesper, I don't suppose you can spare a little bit of healing first.
I can. Who's hurt?
I'm pretty rough right now.
Raise your hands. Ellery, how's Bollock?
So Ball's at about 2/3, so Ball's up for some healing.
Ellery's at half.
Okay. Amsen, how you look?
I'm about a quarter down, so not terrible.
Okay. Well, I will just do a mass cure. Actually, that's my only 5th level, so maybe not that. I will very quickly use a healer's kit on the 3 of you. So we will just use up the rest of that kit. And that one is open. I know. So that's, I think we're level 11 now?
12.
12. Oh, yes. I can't do math, you know this. 7 plus 12, 19 to Ellery. That's max. That's going to Ball. That's 10, 12, 22 to Ball. Shit, that's minimum. Sorry, Amsen, I'm rushing. That's 5 plus 12 is 17.
I'm basically full, so.
Great. Now everyone get the orb.
The eye is searching through the tree line and is flying very quickly along the valley. What are you doing?
Felix isn't. He's going to wait and watch from the tree line.
And I know I made it, but I don't remember. Does it not take a minute to get into the thing?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Oh, it sure do.
I'm gonna.
So I did Ellery first, so she and Ball could get in
I'm gonna.
faster, like as soon as I finish.
I'm gonna hide somewhere in the trees. That's possible.
If you're hiding, give me stealth rolls.
Cool.
If you're trying to get into the sphere first, give me an initiative check.
Can I hide and then try and get into the sphere?
If you're holding it, you can.
I'm gonna use luck because I rolled a natural 1 on my stealth roll.
But if you're trying to hide first, just give me the stealth check.
Fuck it, yeah, I'll do stealth.
That's much better.
Oh, okay. Well, that's also a natural 1, but I wasn't really trying, so it's fine.
25.
Felix is not hiding. He's going to walk away from the group and go to the edge of the trees.
19 for Ellery. Stealth.
That's fine. Vesper, I mean, the nat 1, she wasn't going to hide, and then she was like, maybe I should, and so
Okay. And Ball. Okay. So as the Isilvax, the massive raven, eyes darting along the tree line, silver light streaming through it like a spotlight, revealing kind of the dust flurrying up in this still air. Amsen and Ellery, you quickly duck behind some of the trees into the tree line. As Ball, you focus and are able to whoosh into the sphere. Vesper, you look for somewhere to hide. All the trees are slender, and as you're rushing to one of the larger ones, you trip, fall into the dark snow, kind of looking up. As Felix, you see, is walking away from the group and towards the edge of the valley. The Isilvax, eyes shifting across, stop, focusing as the light shines in silver. As Felix shields his eyes from the light, you see the spotlight almost narrow and constrict upon him as the bird flies by and then loops back. It approaches, hovering, slowly lowering its form towards its eye that's maybe 6 feet across, and is facing Felix, looking at you.
My name is Felix. I come with friends, seeking an audience of one who resides in this realm. At this time, we mean no one any harm inside this place, and we hope to pass peacefully. We know there are rules. We are willing to obey them if we can.
Make a persuasion check. As the pupilless silver eye shines upon you.
I was going to ask Vespa for the perfume.
I'm in the snow getting up right now.
There was no time. There was just no time. All right, baby. You know what? I am going to use my advantage. Because I need this to not be awful. I rolled a 19, so that is a 18.
A 19 down to an 18, okay. The wings are just kind of keeping it aloft in place as it shifts back up to hover above you. It shifts forward. Its large talons digging into the side of the valley as it twists and turns its head. And it reaches its talons towards you to grab you. Do you resist?
Oh, please don't be character number 4. No.
Vesper, Amsen, and Ellery watch from the trees and from your face on the snow. Isilvax, this massive raven, grab Felix around his torso and into the air. You notice as his wings push back, there's this dark wind that streams off of his wings as he flies across the valley, guiding towards the bridge. As he flies, the tall man, standing upon a pedestal, kind of watching the spirits as they cross, looks up at Isilvax as the raven drops Felix, tumbling upon the bridge at the feet of this other figure. The raven loops around again and lands on a perch made between 2 towers closest to the peak in the center. It waves its wings as dark winds come from it and smashes through a few wandering spirits trying to make their way across the bridge. It threatens to push you off, Felix, but the tall man before you takes a staff in his hand and pins you with some of your clothing into the bridge as the winds pass over you. The figure looks upon you. These 2 pale, dark blue, it's almost like black, glowing eyes upon you. You can see its 8 feet tall, this figure. You can see carvings into its skull, a large brow, but completely skeletal otherwise, as it off of the best pedestal to meet you, looking down at you.
In the silence before he speaks, I will very quickly think to Vesper, I'm still alive for now, maybe don't do anything to piss them off just yet.
I will quietly pass that to the others who are near me, which I think is just Amsen at this point, because I think Ellery was going into the ball.
So I was also in the trees.
Okay.
Should we go down there?
Yes, quietly. Maybe down the staff and fly down the side and start to cross, but without the Raven watching, now is a good time.
Before we flash back to Felix, what are y'all, explain to me what are y'all doing? Are y'all trying to fly across the valley?
Fly down the side of the valley and then across, so we're not like just this big spot in the air.
Okay. Whoever is... Good.
Can the staff carry 3 of us, or do I need to get into the ball?
Probably not.
You need to get in the ball. It can only
2 max.
2. Yeah. I'll take a moment and do something I haven't done in a very long time and change my coat of refinement to a very, very dark, very long coat with a hood on it. Kind of blend in a little bit, hopefully.
Nice. So who is going to fly? And they'll roll a stealth check.
I think that's me, since I have extremely good stealth.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going into the ball.
Into the ball with ball?
Yes.
Okay, so whoever's rolling it, roll alone. I can't think of any way to aid someone flying.
Okay.
Maybe you can, but I can't.
I'll use...
Well, does the coat changing help at all?
Not enough to grant advantage, but I will take it
right.
into consideration.
Okay. I'm going to use my #goals inspiration advantage thing.
Nice.
So, get that die out of there. So this is plus 10. 26.
Okay. So as you breathe in, and Vesper mounts you, the staff, and everyone else in the ball, you and begin to dive into the Valley of Death. We'll jump back to Felix as you get to your feet to face this 8-foot-tall skeletal figure. Speak.
I've come with friends to seek an audience with one inside these halls. One there is no way to talk to outside of that. I know a bit of the rules of how this place, and I know traditionally that only the dead can enter, but all we wish to do is learn, to hopefully save all of our worlds.
You are correct, that only the death may cross this bridge. And this under direct invitation of Blackstar herself. Have you such an invitation?
I would hope that she has not turned her gaze on me yet. So no, I don't. Only an invitation from another, a lost god in your halls.
There are many souls, memories held within the dread crypt. Who do you refer to?
One called Tasha.
This child of all gods does not speak for Blackstar.
The skeletal man withdraws an axe on his side. Bearded, old, iron, otherwise undistinguished.
So, have you chosen to cross this bridge?
Yes.
The large Goliath of a man, skeletal, bows his head, and in a flash looks back up as the bearded axe swings whistling through the dark winds as it through your throat. The blood spurts, freezing upon the cold bridge as it lands, splattering at the man's feet. As Felix, you drop to your knees and everything goes black. Jumping back to, was it Amsen who was driving, and you rolled well, as far as I remember, right?
26. 16 plus 10.
Okay. You down, nearly vertical, down the pretty sheer cliffs of this valley, enter it. But before you reach the bottom, you can see now maybe 50 feet below a sea of spirits. Wandering, skeletal, wraiths, ghosts. Some that aren't even humanoid. Ghost of wolves, bears, eagles perched along the cliffside. The spirits of all things gathered around here, drawn to it, like a moth to flame. As you glide above it, there are these strange, not quite clouds, but clusters of dark winds. Most upon the bridge, but there are some still here that hover, this mist at the base of this valley as you creep through it. You enter it so that you can hide yourself, conceal yourself. It limits your vision somewhat. You only see 10, 15 feet ahead as you navigate this mist. Every now and then there's a spire or a creature or a wraith floating, leaping into the air. Give me I know there's not a skill for flying, but some sort of check to quietly maneuver your way through this low mist and the creatures below you.
Would you say it's another stealth?
You can do stealth. Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'm certainly not going to speak to each and every one and convince them that I don't exist. So yeah, let's go with stealth. Hey, that's even better. 17 plus 10 is 27.
Okay. You move your way through as these wraiths almost aimlessly float, drifting, eyes staring off into the distance. It's clear some of them have lost themselves, wondering. You move through this mist and finally can see on the other side as the peak rises up in the center of this valley. Jagged and dark, you can see ruined watchtowers built all along the side, perches, and above the rubble and ruins of a castle of some sort as you begin to float up. Vesper and Amsen, give me a perception checks.
I'm not good at those.
Dirty 20.
I'm good if I roll a natural 17 again. That's a 19.
Okay. As you're creeping up, looking, every now and then looking over your shoulder to the creatures, the sea of these spirits below you, you can see walls above you, just barely. You can feel and see that pulse of dark energy coming from the center of this ruin. And upon these walls you see movement. Just the shifting of weight from one foot to the other. But you notice it. There are watchers upon this wall, hooded figures. And going off your religion checks earlier, you know that some of the champions of the Raven Queen are called Grave Ravens. And they are some of the basically Grim Reaper type champions of the Raven Queen. And they're often described as dark, hooded figures. You can't see their faces. And they are watching upon these walls. As you fly up to give enough room away from the spirits below and consider your next move above, let's jump to Ellery and Ball in the sphere. What are you guys up to?
I think Ellery is pacing around, looking very anxious about this whole situation.
Maybe Ball's doing the opposite and he's just kind of sitting down playing a solo game of solitaire while he waits.
I think at some point, how much time is passing?
Just a few minutes so far. Not long.
I think maybe, actually probably as soon as I get into the sphere, I would try and contact Felix through the pouch. Hey, is everything, are you okay?
We'll say she's asking this like as you're thrown onto the bridge. So there's a few seconds of communication before you would speak, Felix.
They haven't killed me immediately. I'm gonna try and get us inside. But that may go bad.
Okay, well, keep us up to date.
I'll be in touch.
And then I am pacing and waiting.
Okay. And Ball is playing crossword puzzle.
I'm gonna just give myself a quick cure wounds. Because I'm still not wonderful at this point.
Go for it. And is Ball playing crossword puzzle? Is that what you said? What are you doing?
I'm just playing, because I know we have some deck of cards there when I was playing against Felix earlier, so Ball's just sitting there kind of, Ball knows there's not much he can do right now, except, just trust that his party members will figure it out at this stage.
Roll a D100 for me in the chat.
78.
Okay.
A little concerned about why I'm rolling.
I was just curious. Okay, so as Ellery is healing herself, pacing, the Ball is flipping through cards, we shift back to Felix. After the bearded axe whoosh, through your throat, you fall to your knees, and then to your side, and then everything goes out. A blurred vision comes to you, Felix, with a migraine, pain that you haven't felt before. You can feel this numb, distant feeling in your throat as you start to see color. Blue. You see 2 blue suns. As your eyes clarify, you can see the face of the man staring at you, blood dripping from the axe as he looks upon you. You look down and you see your body laid on the side at the man's feet as you see a spectral form of yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, kind of figured that would happen.
Cross then. See the sovereign. Make your request.
Request? Can't just go to Tasha?
You can try.
I mean, I'm not trying to break any rules, just wondering if I could, in a bit of a hurry.
It is not for me to judge.
Yes, sir.
Go.
And Felix will go. As he is walking into the building. It is really weird that I am turned on right now.
So as you're getting used to your new form, you walk across the bridge, the dark winds, shoving aside any stray spirits who wander without intent or purpose. You can feel those winds push against you, but you have purpose, you have a destination. And so you are able to walk through them towards the end of the bridge, the peak in the center. You can see the walls now of the ruins in the distance. 2 towers on the other side of the bridge next to this peak, upon which the raven sits, perched, wings outstretched, as it looks down upon you and the few other spirits that struggle through. As you cross, you follow a small trail of dirt, soot, dust, and stone to a large, maybe 15-foot gap. A gate. No iron, no doors, just open. You see the ruins of a castle, the courtyard before you. And in this courtyard is a skull garden, stacks of bones, grave markers. You see many skeletal bodies, many impaled with swords, all of the same shape and cut and design, each with dark petaled flowers laid at their feet. You see in the center a dark pit in the center of this garden, where a pulse of black energy rises from it to meet the black star hanging in the sky. It's strange. This energy in the star is glowing black, and normally you can't see anything in this shadowed place, but you can still feel and sense this glowing, this radiance of darkness. Make a wisdom save.
Great. Come on, baby. Okay, not terrible. 15?
As you look at the pulsing of energy, you follow it up, drawn your vision towards the star hanging in the sky, and in it you see a shift of movement. You feel clutching on your shoulder. As you turn to see it, you see a jagged figure of void, glowing stars of crimson across their flesh as if made of space. They're wearing a crown jagged crimson as they hold their hand to the side, and a saber is summoned in their hands, and they drive it into you. The pain is immense as you feel your end, a sight of your death, final, and the vision fades, and you're back in the garden. But you sense yourself closer to death, even in the state. In the garden, it's empty. A few spirits move through. There's a short line of them, 5 or 6, waiting to address a figure sitting on a throne. The throne is set upon a pedestal, or a platform rather, behind which are the open doors that lead into the castle. You see the figure is tall and thin, elven, dark skin, long pointed ears, but unlike any elves you've seen before. Large eyes with crescents for pupils, wearing robes and a crown of thorns twisting. The throne itself is roots and briars that have grown upon to make a throne. And leaning against the throne as the king-like regal individual sits is a blade, a saber of black, as he seems to speak with each spirit in turn. What do you do?
Does there seem to be any other passages out of this room beyond, or except through that guy?
Make a perception check.
Okay. 24.
Looking around, you see there are a few holes in the walls of this courtyard. But you also notice atop the ramparts, on one of the towers that is only partially ruined, is a doorway. It seems to lead inside at least the tower itself. There is a hooded, so there is a grave raven that is watching outward, not inward, upon the ramparts near the door.
So, Felix is not terribly good at sneaking, convincing people, really anything terribly useful in this situation. So, and forgive me, Felix is smarter than George is. Thinking back, did Datos give us any instruction for once we got past the bridge?
I don't believe he said anything specifically.
Useful. Do I know who this guy with the thorn crown is?
Possibly. You can do either a religion check, maybe a history check.
If history is an option, I will roll that.
Oh, well.
I rolled a natural 1, but that is still a 15.
With a 15, you can't recall the name, but judging from his appearance, you're pretty sure you've seen this visage of a tall elven man with long white hair and a long regal beard carved in the murals and painted in various places. I can't remember his name, but he was a Vumeri, an ancient elf, long before the current reign of sovereigns. So he is a sovereign of some sort that you can't remember his name.
Okay, I'm not like trying to rush or be sneaky. I am literally just going to walk around his little line and, I'll give him a little head bow if he wants, but I'm just trying to I don't care who he is, so I'm going to keep going.
Okay. As you begin to pass by him, he calls out to you. In Elvish, noticing your Elvish incorporeal form. And where do you think you're going?
Well, I wasn't exactly given instructions, and I don't know you, so I'm looking for someone?
Wait your turn. I will address you.
And that's necessary?
Unless you want your spirit destroyed.
Then yes.
As he rests his hand upon the black saber.
Go. Wait in a queue for a while. Super.
So there's about 6 spirits ahead of you. The first 4 the Sovereign speaks to before he allows passage through. Each one, he places his hand upon their head and then upon their chest. And you see a flash of energy, and he pulls from them a small crystal, which he places in a bowl at his side. The spirit then turns and walks into the pulsing black energy. And each time they walk in, their spirit is pulled away, transported where you do not know. There is the 5th one who approaches. The Sovereign takes longer with him, asking him many questions, eventually sighing before taking the blade and slicing through the incorporeal spirit, dismissing it. Not sure if the soul was destroyed or just sent elsewhere, banished, but the next spirit has gotten through, sent away through the Black Star energy, where you approach the Sovereign once more. As he sits, Jarl Balgruth style, leaned kind of haphazardly to the side on the throne. So, you seem to be in quite a rush. Where are you heading?
Honesty has gotten me so far. I'm trying to find a dead old god and have a conversation.
You did not seek rest, then?
No, not if I can help it. I don't really do rest.
I see. And who is this god you seek?
The only name I know her by is Tasha.
He leans forward, narrowing his eyes at you. Give me a persuasion check.
Balls. Okay. 13.
I'm curious. As he leans back. Then why do you seek this, Tasha?
You know, us mortals, always trying to prevent our deaths and the end of the world. Which I am fairly certain is coming, and I think she has information. Also, she invited me through an intermediary, not directly, so just hoping.
He puts his hand up as you're finishing your sentence. Well, the world is always ending. And I do know the mortal conflict with the end of life. Even ours, which can be so long. I will let you speak to this, Tasha. But upon your exit, you will come to me. You tell me what you've discovered from her.
Okay.
The sovereign before you whistles as you hear the many beating wings of small ravens as you see a swarm of them fly from one of the towers above and down to you, forming into a man, maybe 5'8" or 9", hooded, black robes with a white salt and pepper beard. The hood is pushed up as if he's wearing a crown beneath it, and he wears a necklace, an amulet around his neck. This is the way. He will guide you. The sovereign looks towards this new figure. Take him to Tasha's Remembrance. The new figure nods and then looks to you. Well, we'll also be going, yes?
Yeah, I waited in line.
Don't we all? And he begins to guide you into the castle. Not long after you enter it, it soon begins to take the appearance of a crypt. Long halls, chambers, with many slots in the walls for storing bodies and skulls and bones, urns. There are banners, old, hung up on the wall, the walls and ceilings, old rusted weapons laid at the feet of various coffins and altars. As he guides you left, down the stairs, right, down again, through a winding and vaguely confusing crypt beneath this castle. Hopping back over to Amsen and Vesper. As you ride, or are kind of floating upon the staff, looking up at the ramparts above. What do you do?
Well, I'd like to try and check in with Felix and see how he's doing. Felix, everything going all right? Felix, is everything going all right? Amsen, Felix isn't answering me.
Well, that's unfortunate. We just have to hope for the best, unfortunately. While I'm looking around, can I see, like, an opening in the ramparts? Maybe, like, there's a place where it's crumbled a little bit, or where there aren't any guards looking, or something like that. I don't know.
You can definitely spot a few holes in the walls. This is a ruined castle, so there's definitely a few holes. You can make a maybe perception if you're trying to find a spot that isn't as well guarded.
Are we sneaking in?
And
thought we were going to the bridge.
Point of clarification. Is there some mechanical reason that I don't know about the communication thing?
Well, he's dead.
As far as I know, I don't physically have any of my items on me, and that's how I communicate. So I don't think so. I mean, I don't really know if I have like phantom versions of them on my spirit, and if the magic still works. That's kind of a you thing.
Okay.
But they do function for up to 5 days after my death, so the pouch itself is still functional.
Okay. Alright, so what are you guys doing?
So, just so that we're on the same page, were we riding the staff down towards the bridge where the dead dude is, or did we ride the staff across the valley up to where the castle is? And
that is up to y'all. I thought y'all went across the valley up to where the castle was, but if you intended to go somewhere else, then that is where you would go.
Keep the spooky bridge. That's not a bad thing, right? Let's...
Yeah, okay.
Sure. Well, you're steering.
Okay, sure. Let's go across.
I'm not going to be backseat driver. Just, you know.
All right, so we're at the ramparts then. I'm going to look for a way in. Hopefully, like a hole in the wall that's big enough for us, to like sneak through that doesn't have too many guards. What's with these 17s? 19.
There is a pretty solid amount of these grave ravens. Many are upon the ramparts, upon the towers, and every now and then you'll see them into a swarm of ravens and fly around to another location. You can see above a kind of cluster of them circling around the star above. There might be a few gaps here and there if you time it right. It can be difficult. So with a roll like that, you might see a space where you might be able to time it right after a gray raven leaves, standing before the hole and before the next one gets there. As you see a rough pattern to their patrol.
Okay. So I'll take a breath. Stay as still as possible. Okay. And
just okay, yep, I'll press my forehead against Amsen's back and just hold my breath indefinitely.
Because you could do that. And then as soon as I see a timing, I'm going to grab hold of the staff and try to fly through the hole as silently as possible. Just like zip.
Okay. Make a stealth check.
Okay. That's not a great roll. It's not a natural one. Let's see, do I have anything?
How lucky do you feel?
I only have 1 point of luck left, so...
Oh, I'd rather not die, but okay.
And I spent all my portent already. Yeah, I'll use luck. Why not? Because that's a natural 4. That's not much better, so 17.
As you begin to move here, the wings of these silvax, the great raven, begin to take off from their perch as you move, as the first gray raven leaves towards the gap. As you are flying towards the hole, you hear as a swarm of the ravens are flying down from above, the ramparts or tower above, landing and reforming in the spot where the first one was, about 10 feet behind you. You see as they form into a hooded figure, they begin to look over their shoulder and begin to turn. What do you do?
What do I see ahead of me?
You see the hill kind of rises and continues. There's a few low walls before you get to the next set of walls and larger towers. So there's basically another set of walls with a bit of rubble in between.
And how far away are those walls?
Those walls are about 30 feet in various places.
Okay, and what about the rubble in between?
The closest spot of rubble is maybe 10 feet away.
And would it be able to hide Vesper and I?
If you laid on the ground, possibly.
It'll make noise, though. Oh, that has verbal components. That has everything has verbal components. Counterspell, and that's useless right now.
How far away are we from this grave raven?
Like 10 feet.
Okay, 20 feet in the opposite direction. There is, thanks to thaumaturgy, which is just verbal, there is a sound. I'm going to say like a child scream from 20 feet in the other direction.
Give me like a deception or a performance check, something like that.
Oh, God. Well, 5.
As Amsen is kind of looking around, surveying the situation, Vesper, you do that, and the scream rings out on the other side of the creature as he continues to turn and sees you there. Hold yourselves. As he walks. You're not dead. What living souls would tread here?
Amsen will slow down on the broom and then, or not broom, staff, and then stop, and then just whisper to Vesper. All right. Let's get off. And he'll take the staff out from underneath them and just kind of stand there for a second, not quite turning around. Okay.
Just be honest.
This person whistles as you can hear the fluttering of other things coming toward you.
Amsen will turn around and drop the hood of his magically altered jacket. Hello. Yeah, this is a bit of an awkward situation, isn't it?
Is trespassing upon my lord's land always is.
Indeed. You see, we have a very good reason to. By no means is it any, hopefully not any inconvenience to your lord. We just want to talk to someone who invited us here.
The figure who has two kind of beady, dark blue glowing eyes under the hood steps forward towards you. The figure's pretty short, maybe 5 feet tops, as two more figures of normal human height stand behind you as they three kind of triangulate around you. As the shorter one peers in to you, make a check, a persuasion check, I guess.
I was being honest, I guess, so.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think I said anything that's not true.
And I don't think your intention is deceit.
They're the same roll anyways, they're both plus 12, so that's 12 plus 12 is 24.
It is rare, but not inconceivable, that the living come here to try to free the memories of their dead. That is not what you seek, is it?
No, we merely seek conversation and information.
And why did you not cross the bridge?
Because we're living. We didn't think we'd be able to.
Indeed.
There's one way.
What is that way?
There are 2 ways. One is if you have an invitation from the Queen of Ravens. Do you have such an invitation?
Not from her, from a different being.
And who is this being?
One known as Tasha.
And is this Tasha lord over this realm? Over the space between life and death? Over Black Star? Over the Grave Ravens? Over Isilvax and his twin Isilthis?
Judging from the sarcasm in your voice, I would say no.
That is indeed correct. No is the answer. So you come here without an invitation, attempt to trespass upon these lands, and you still seek an audience.
It's important. We can go back to the bridge if you need us to. We meant no offense.
And yet you have offended. Tell me, why should we not slay you here and now, to where your spirit can cross the bridge as is appropriate?
You're the talker.
Just because it's an interesting question. How far away is where that dead guy at the other side of the ravine? How far away is that guy from us right now?
I'm sorry, the giant guy at the bridge? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the tall dude that sliced Felix. How far away is he from us right now?
He's about halfway across the bridge, so he's maybe 700 feet, something like that.
Aw, damn. Dimension Door's only 500.
I mean, 500 would get you onto the bridge.
Well, first of all, we have not, at least as far as we understand, have not posed a threat to anything or anyone. We've just made a social error, that one being trespassing. But we can very quickly remedy it. I can get us over to, the bridge guard right away, if you'd like.
Yes, I do believe that would be appropriate. It is that or face death here and now. As the figure and the other two draw blades, long, thin as stalks, nearly rapiers.
Want that, so let's get back on the staff and go down to the bridge where we were supposed to go.
Of course. Amsen will take Vesper's hand and start walking back towards the ramparts where we came in. trying to get as close to the bridge as possible.
And he will place his hand around your arm and kind of grasp it, as another one will grasp Vesper's. Not hand, but arm.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess we have to do things the right way. All right. We just keep walking, and then, assuming we get within 500 feet, then I'll just dimension door right in front of him. Make it easy.
Okay. So you walk a bit, kind of around the edge of this, almost like a goat path, moving closer towards the bridge. You eventually get close enough and cast Dimension Door. You're suddenly pulled from their grasp as you land upon the bridge, tumbling a bit as the tall figure looks down upon you all. The wind is pushing you back. And at that moment, we'll shift to Ball and Ellery. Any update from you guys? You guys are in the sphere.
I think I've tried to contact Felix again. Any news?
No response.
And I look at Ball. Should we just still be waiting in here? That's probably better than going out into who knows what, right?
Maybe I'll give it a try. Because I suppose it is strange for them to not answer after so long.
But it could be that he's just not in a position where he can divide his focus.
I think they should be able to say something if we tell them it's urgent. And maybe after saying that, Ball will try to communicate with them and say, hello, it's urgent. Why hasn't anyone said anything? And I assume no one says anything? Okay, fine. What's the plan when we get out? If something has happened?
I don't know. If something has happened, then it's probably up to me to get us out of here. So we'll have to find a place where we can hole up for a minute.
Okay, if we need some kind of a distraction, I can do that. And you do what you need to do.
Hopefully we won't need that. Let's just wait by the exit. Be ready to go as soon as we hear anything.
So you mean by the exit of the sphere?
The exit to the sphere. Because there's that, gate on the platform, if I remember correctly.
We've been waiting, and we haven't heard anything. If you are right, and something is wrong, then I don't know if standing by the exit will... They might need our help.
I know, but it's also a tense situation that we might make worse if we come out. We don't know if they're talking to people or if they're trying to sneak somewhere. I hate it, but I think we need to be patient.
And with that, we'll shift back to Felix in your spirit form as you're being guided by this individual, this Grave Raven, as he moves through this crypt much larger on the inside than it appears on the outside. As he's moving along, picking up various stones and crystals placed on the altars and in the urns and inside of the coffins in various places. Well, I'm Grave Raven and former King Meron von Breakspear, as he pulled his hand out.
Charmed, I guess, and he'll kind of do a Felix handshake, which is half put his hand in his and not move or really touch him.
Right, well, it's not every day you see someone willing to sacrifice themselves for whatever it is you're after. I know it's around here somewhere. And you notice that he's leading you through each crystal. He will touch it and lift it up to his eye level as a vision will be projected out of it in strange dark light. A vision of a boy crossing a river before being pulled by the current and drowned, or the vision of a hunter trying to hunt a deer before being set upon by a bear, being slaughtered for it. Various visions, remembrances, as he crosses through this crypt, showing, searching for the one of Tasha.
Do you not have a card catalog or something to speed this up?
My queen does like these things to be, confusing. I know it makes this a bit longer, but it does protect those who might jump in and seek information. That happened not too long ago, actually.
Ooh, do tell.
They killed a few of us, temporarily only, but they were able to catch a few. Sought the remembrance and memories of some great sage from long ago. Took some of the crystals that house their memories. Either searching for the instructions to something powerful. Not to worry, though. We are seeking them now.
Tell me, and this is probably going to sound suspicious if I'm right, they weren't happen to looking for the person who created the Arcana text schematic, were they?
Well, you are right, but that does sound quite suspicious. We'll have to discuss this.
We have mutual enemies.
Discuss this indeed.
If it's any consolation, my friends who are waiting outside help stop them from stealing the real thing.
Well, that is something. As he picks up another crystal and looks at the vision, and you see many of these remembrances, and you eventually are shown all of the remembrances that you as players have seen, and many others. Eventually, he comes to, looks like a mausoleum on the interior of this crypt. Great door that he unlocks and opens. And inside are numerous crystals. There's energy as he shifts them that seems to link them all, as if they're the separated crystals of one individual, which is unusual from what you've seen so far. He closes the door behind you. This, my friend, is the remembrance of Tasha. We've separated it to prevent her from reforming as she was wont to do. But she knows much, so we forgive her for her transgressions.
So, what do I do with it?
Well, I will put them together, and a remembrance will be formed. You will be able to speak to her memories, though I have to remind you, this is not a living entity. She can only speak to what she knew in life.
I'm familiar with the process.
He raises his eyebrow, surprised, but then shrugs. Well, let's get to it. And he begins to put all of these crystals together. And I think that might be a good moment to go on a break. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
Do you want to come back at 10? Is that enough time? Okay. So we'll come back at 10 o'clock.
Next time on Back to the Story.
What do you need?
An offering, perhaps. If you offer a gift to the Queen of Remembrance, she may judge you worthy or not.
Why am I tied to the essence of death, and how do I control it? How do I harness it?
That, my child, can be learned if you but pledge your worship to me.
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.